Live.
Hello.
So, hello. So, welcome everybody to our second broadcast for this series. What we're looking at the moment is the 5 success principles. So, with the 5 success principles from NLP, where, as Peter outlined in yesterday's presentation, we're looking at the first of the success principles is knowing your outcome. And Peter gave a great talk about that yesterday. The second is taking massive action, which we'll be covering off today with Angela McDonald from the business room. The third success principle is having the sensory acuity to calibrate your progress towards your goal, making sure that you can calibrate and see that you're actually achieving what you hope to achieve. The fourth success principle is having behavioral flexibility, and that means adapting your strategies. If you're when you're calibrating your outcome, you're noticing that if when you're calibrating your outcome, you're noticing that you're not achieving the goal you wanted, then you need to be able to bring behavioral flexibility to adapt and adjust your strategies so that you get back on track. And the final success principle is bringing along the physiology and psychology of excellence so that you are being the person you need to be with the mindset that you need to have in order to ensure you do achieve your goal. So that's the 5 success principles. But today, what we're going to be focused on, of course, is the success principle of taking massive action. And that's
Correct.
why we have Angela here from the business room, because this is Angela's specialist area. Because as a business owner, it is important that we do take massive action. But when I say take massive action, I do want to ensure that people don't think that necessarily means flogging yourself to death in order to take that massive action. So, Angela, I was hoping you could perhaps give us some hints and tips about how we can take massive action without necessarily becoming human doings in the process.
Sure. The other thing to consider in taking massive action is that it doesn't have to be expensive. It doesn't mean you're paying out big dollars to do that. Taking massive action in your business is about understanding how your business works and how the people who are in it works and making it more effective, more efficient, more productive. And for me, that's by putting in systems and the right systems in place. And there are various types of systems that you can put in place to make your system hum so much better than it does now and to stay abreast of current technology and current trends in your industry.
Definitely, definitely. So when you're looking at some of those systems with business owners, what are you finding for a lot of them, perhaps some of the earlier challenges they come up against?
For a lot of them, what I find is people have been doing the same thing for years and years and years. And they've kind of got that adage, if it ain't broke, why try to fix it? Now, when they first started doing things that way, it was probably the best available way for them at the time. And it may have been that at the time they were a one-man band. Now they might have a team of staff to help them. By staying with the way they did it initially, they're not keeping up with trends, they're not keeping up with technology, and they're actually slowing themselves down because they're locked into doing something that can be done much more efficiently now. So an example of that might be around, say, your finance system, where people may have manually been writing in the journal books or keeping an Excel spreadsheet. And for some, it might be that they've just been on standalone software on their computers. It might have been MYOB, it might be QuickBooks, any one of those. And that has been great. But now we have cloud-based programs that mean that no matter where you are or what device you have on you, whether it's your phone or a tablet or your laptop computer, anywhere you go, provided you can get internet access, you can have real-time access to your information. And along with that, those programs are so much more improved. They now encompass and allow you to do so much more than the old ones did. And they're even a bit more user-friendly, which is even better if you're not particularly savvy around finances or around bookkeeping, I should say, because for most of us, we don't go into business to be bookkeepers. We go into business because we excel at what we do. And the bookkeeping is one of those push it aside as a too hard, do it later things. And it really
Mm.
doesn't have to be. It can be quite simple now. And also now with those new softwares, and again, I'm staying with the financial packages, you have what I think in pretty much all of them now, a dashboard. So when you first log into the system from your phone, from your tablet, from anywhere, you can see exactly where your business is at, exactly what money you've got in the bank account, exactly what sales you've got, exactly how much money you actually owe suppliers. It's all there ready for you. You don't have to go back to the office and look in the paper journal and get the calculator out and add it all up to see, oops, this is where I'm at. It just makes so much more sense to take these systems on, and they're not expensive. Most of them will charge you a subscription rate per month, but depending on the system that you use, and that again depends on what you need in a system, they're quite cost effective. So you don't have to have the biggest, best, all shiny dancing system if you're a very simple operator and don't need a lot of the functions that it offers. And there is software out there that will cater to you.
Yeah, yeah. So what I'm hearing you say is that you might already have what you believe is a system that works in your business, but because for most of us in business, we're looking at growing. And as our business grows, our needs can change. And
Absolutely.
so what was once a very efficient and effective system, maybe your Excel spreadsheet, when you grow and you have a team, perhaps isn't anymore. And that's the time to make
Correct.
sure you upgrade your systems or your processes to continue to maintain efficiency. So sometimes the old way is no longer the best way to do things.
That's right. And
Great.
particularly if you've got a team and you involve that team
Mm,
in determining your processes and procedures, because don't forget, they're the ones that are at the front line. They actually know what's going on. They
mm,
know what the customer is asking for and what the customer is complaining about. They are key in putting the right systems and processes in place. So I always encourage people to involve their teams in choosing the right system and setting up the right system, whether that's an in-house process and procedure or whether that's some sort of computerized system to handle projects or to handle customer relations or to handle recording of information in any way.
mm. And I suppose in terms of taking massive action, what do you see as the main advantages to business owners who perhaps do upgrade their systems or review their systems and processes? Because sometimes it is just the process itself, isn't
Yes,
it?
it is.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
What are the main advantages to a business in taking on that in the context of achieving the massive action they need in order to grow their business?
Well, first and foremost, it's going to improve the bottom line because
Yep.
your team are going to be so much more productive. You're going to be so much more productive. There's
Mm,
continuity throughout your business because if we're talking about processes and procedures, everyone is following a given system and they understand why that system is important to your business, why things need to be done that way, why it's more effective to do them that way. So there's so much time saving. There's a saving from double handling where people are manually doing things. You can have systems that talk to one another. So where you update information in one system, it automatically
mm.
updates the other systems. So much time to be saved there. So it's
Yes, and also,
productivity.
I mean, with that, I think one of the big advantages where they talk to each other is minimisation of errors.
Absolutely.
Mm,
Far less room for human error.
yeah.
Far less room because most of those packages too will do things automatically for you. You just need to put in certain information and it will chug away and do the rest. Where once upon a time we had to rely on us, our calculators, spell checks, etc., to do everything. That's just not the case with modern technology and modern systems.
Hmm. So when you are working with a business, from the business room, when you go in and work with one of your clients, what are the sorts of things you look for that ring a bell and say, let's get a system here or let's redesign this process? What is it exactly you're looking for?
It can be really quite surprising. I look at things that are a risk to the business, a
Uh-huh.
risk of them not being able to grow, or a risk of if something went wrong, if they got burgled, if there was a fire or something awful like that happened, what
Hmm.
the risk to the business is and what's lost through it. But one of the first things I often find is I go in and I might find people using a manual diary for their sales team. And then they're
Mm.
calling their sales team on the phone to say, you're supposed to be at Bill Blogs at 10 o'clock. Where are you now? Now, there are so many calendar systems that you can use that your salespeople can also log into, and they're free, where they can log on from their phone and see where they're supposed to be. There's also tracking devices that you can use, so you can sit in front of your computer and you can actually see where your people are. So Mrs. Smith rings up and says, you said you were going to have your electrical contractor out to my place at 9:45 and it's 9:20 and I haven't seen him yet. And you can look on your screen and say, well, actually, I can see Mr. Smith that he's only 5 minutes from your place now, so he'll be there very soon. There are all these systems in place that you don't have to do all that work with, that can handle that for you. Another thing I often come across is people using very old software, and also not using, they may have a specific software for their business. So, for example, an accounting firm may have an accounting software that allows them to do their taxation compliance work, and that's all they've learnt to use in it, because that's all they've needed to know. But those systems quite often do everything. They are a customer relationship management tool. They can be a marketing tool. They can actually talk to your financial software package and do your invoicing for them. And I have had a case where I worked with an accountant who was using a specialised system for compliance, had another system again for financial reporting, but drew their invoices up in Microsoft Word.
Oh.
That's an accounting firm, so please. And that could all have been handled by that one system. When I went
Hmm.
in there to streamline their businesses, which was what I was engaged to do, I discovered that the software they had was capable of doing all three things, and
Wow.
that the softwares would actually talk to one another. So there was a huge time saving there for them, huge. They just
Yeah.
didn't know how to use it. And I guess from their perspective, it was, this does what we need it to do and we don't have time to worry about the rest. But that, to me, that's a flag.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Well, that sounds like a massive bonus that you were able to deliver that business. And when we put that into the context of taking massive action to achieve your goals, because for most of us in small business, time, being short of time, is a big, one of our major issues. So
Yes.
being able to free up time that's in fact gone into duplication of effort or inefficient processes or systems just means then we can use that time much more effectively and productively to grow our businesses. Yeah.
Correct. And you know, one of the most obvious ways to me, and yet simple ways, is quite often people won't have documented processes and procedures in their business. It's been put to the too hard basket. They'll say, yes, I know I should have them. Yes, I'll get round to it. But right now I'm too busy. I've got too much on and I've got this new person starting and I have to train them. Ding, ding. If you had the processes and procedures in place, you wouldn't be having to train them. You would have another staff member training them, or they would be following the processes and procedures that were already documented. So I have this thing where I say, do it once and never do it again. And by the way, that's not original. I have borrowed that from someone else. But it really is true. Record yourself. Use a phone, use screen saving software or screen recording software. There's a million ways to go about it. Get someone else to film you doing something, and then it's done. And then you say to the staff member, this is what I want you to do. Oh, and here's my phone. There's the video. Watch it. It tells you how to do it. And then the next time it comes around, that's already recorded. You don't have to do it again and again. Do it once.
Fantastic. And I think with the technology available now, when you can do things so easily with your phone or whatever, I- that is an added bonus as well. Sometimes it just takes that little bit of effort. And the old get around to it story, I think
Hmm.
that's really partly what our trip to Thailand is all about, because
Oh, absolutely.
we're taking a group of businesses over to a luxury resort in Thailand, escaping Australia in the middle of winter, to
Yes,
hopefully warm our toes while we do get around to it. And getting
correct.
around to it, what do you see as some of the things that you'll be able to offer to businesses whilst they're there in Thailand with us, enjoying life by the pool and getting around to it for their business?
I'm going to show them some really simple, time or cost effective and time saving ways to systemize their business, and that includes processes and procedures, and I've just touched on that briefly. I'm going to help them identify what they need in their business and then show them the best ways to getting those put into place with them doing the least amount of work. So for me, it's about freeing them up to spend more time growing their business, getting other people to handle the day-to-day grind that they really don't need to be doing, because they've got other people to do that for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And the good thing about going away to do that work is we're escaping from the persistent and consistent interruptions that distract us really, I think, from focusing on how to build those system improvements and enabling ourselves to then focus on taking massive action to deliver the goals that we've decided we are going to have in our businesses in the next 12 months. So,
Absolutely. I think for most people in business, we all spend a lot of time during our day just running around, putting out fires, if you like, and just dealing with day-to-day situations that might crop up that perhaps we do have to handle, perhaps we don't. I'm inclined to think that there are ways around that. That's probably another thing that I'd like to bring up when we're in Thailand is, it doesn't have to be you. It can be someone else that takes those responsibilities. And for some business owners, letting go is a little bit of a problem. So we'll be working around that as well. And we've got, amongst our wonderful people who are coming over to present, we've got some people who can work on mindset and can help people break through barriers that might perhaps be holding them back. And I'm really looking forward to that because I've experienced some of that myself.
Yeah. Well, for those of you who haven't yet registered for Thailand, there's still a couple of places left. So please jump on and register. I'll make sure the link goes up with the post. And whilst we're there, it's going to be a very small and intimate group. The focus is going to be tailored specifically around your own individual business needs. So it's not a workshop or a training where you go and you hear a lot of theory and then you come back and you have an enormous amount of work to do all on your own. We are going there to do the work with you, hand holding, get it done. So when you come back, you've got it locked and loaded. And when you come home, we're looking at implementation, measuring progress, behavioural flexibility and adapting, and of course, bringing home that beautiful physiology and psychology of excellence, which I'm sure some of the beautiful Thai massages or facials or a bit of pampering will have helped build.
That's right. Yeah, so it doesn't stop. The Thailand trip is all encompassing, and as Joanne's mentioned, it's hands-on, where they're working with you on your business. And then when you come back, you will still have access to us. So the support network will be around you. If you start to feel like, perhaps I might need a little bit more discussion around this, or I might need a little bit more help with that, you'll still be able to contact us and get our help with all of that. So it's an ongoing experience for you. But please just get me to Thailand in the sun and and with those fabulous business owners who are just so keen to grow their business. And I don't know, Joe, you may not have mentioned this yet, but we're really encouraging this particular trip where we're quite specific about who we want to work with, and we want to work with people who really do want to grow their business. If you're happy just plodding along the way you are and business is good or as good as you'd like it, and you've got no plans to make any deviations, this probably isn't for you. We're looking for the businesses who want to take that massive action, who want to grow their business exponentially, if you like, who want to take it to that next level and beyond and see just how big and how strong they can get it. That's the people that we want to work with. They're focused, they're driven, they're like us.
And they want to grow it smart. So,
they do.
So they have the quality of life on the way. Well, thanks very much. Thanks very much for joining me today, Angela. And tomorrow
You're
we've got another interview set up with two of our masterful coaches and business owners who are going to be joining us in Thailand. So by all means, jump on board, and we'll see you at 12 o'clock tomorrow. But thank you, Angela, for sharing your insights into how to systemize your business, and in doing that, create the space for you to take massive action and really focus on achieving your goals. Thanks very much, and I'll
Thank you.
catch you all later this week. Bye.
Bye.